bodice and how to shift them from place to place on the bodice. First, what is a dart? A dart is one method of taking a flat piece of fabric and molding it around the form. A dart is a triangle shape that, when the two dart legs are sewn together, creates a shape that molds around the form. This sample is a half of a bodice that has a shoulder dart and a waist dart. All darts must point toward an apex, or the highest part on the part of the body that you're dealing with. In this case, it's the bust apex. And this is the bust level line. The apex is marked here. Darts point to the apex, and in this instance, they terminate 1 inch from the apex. So you want to be clear about what is the apex and then the dart's termination point. The other thing to remember about darts is that the dart underlay, which is this area of the dart underlay always is pressed toward the center of the body, whether it's the center front in the front or the center back in the back. On this teaching sample, I have darkened all the lines with Sharpie, but I didn't do that on the dress form. I draped it lightly penciled in my marks, took it off the form, and then darkened them so that you can see the shape and all the marks. You never want to mark the muslin with a Sharpie or a pen because it may bleed through the muslin onto the dress form, and you want to leave the dress form as clean as when you found it. So here is that muslin drape off the form. Here is the waist dart and the shoulder dart and all the markings, and here is the triangle of the waist dart, and here is the shoulder dart. These black lines are the shoulder legs, and as I said, all darts need to point to the apex, and so I've marked the center of this dart with red so that you can see that yes, indeed, it does point to the apex. So what happens when we want to shift a dart to another position? Say the designer wants a side seam bust dart. All darts must pivot off the apex, and so I'll put a pin in the apex to pin down that pivot point. We'll shift, smooth, drape, the shoulder to be smooth, the front of the arm's eye to be smooth, and then we will drape the dart underlay here. Because the fabric is pinned here, the dart will naturally pivot toward, from that bust apex. Pin this at the side seam, and we've created the same fit, but with the dart in a different place. On the horizontal darts, the dart underlay is pressed down, and so this crease signifies one of the dart legs. So here I've marked the new shoulder, arm's eye, and dart legs in red. And if we unpin that, then you can see the difference in the shapes. The black is the original shoulder dart and shoulder, arm's eye, side seam. And then when we shifted the dart to fit at the side seam, then the red is the outline of that new bodice shape. But regardless of whether the dart is at the side seam or the shoulder, the fit is exactly the same. When you trace the muslin off into a pattern, you want to be truing the dart termination point to be 1 inch away from the apex. You want to measure and make sure that's accurate. I'm now using yellow paper underneath so that you can more readily see the change that I'm about to make. Just as we draped on the form and eliminated the shoulder dart and instead pivoted that to a side seam, we're going to do that now in the flat. There are a couple methods of doing this, and I'm going to show you one of them. Step one is marking the new dart placement line. So we're going to shift this dart into this position. Step two is cutting along that dart placement line up to within 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch of the apex. You want to leave a small hinge of brown paper here. Step three is cutting down the center of the dart that you are absorbing or eliminating rather. Once you have the new dart placement line cut and the dart that you are eliminating cut, lift that and lay one dart leg on top of the other and pivot at the apex, which opens the new dart. I've already mentioned that these darts generally end about 1 inch from the apex, so I'm marking 1 inch from the apex, and then I'm going to true one dart leg off of the apex and the other, and then I'm going to trace around the rest of the pattern. We didn't do anything with this dart down here, so I'm going to just trace that off as is. Up here, we'll need to use our ruler and true this to make this a smooth line. So here I've traced around that and extended the dart legs. Next I need to cut around this, and then I'll show you how to close and cup this dart in order to create the proper dart underlay shape. So now that I've cut this out, I can close and cup this dart. As I've said before, the dart underlay wants to be pressed down. So I'm going to fold the bottom dart leg. I'm going to pin down the termination point of the dart, and I'm going to close the dart, which causes this to cup, and hence it's called cupping and closing. And then if you cut along that, it creates the correct shape of the dart underlay, so that once this is stitched in fabric, the edge of the dart underlay will run even with the seam